Ready to go?
Yeah!
Yay!
God, that sounded quite instant. See, I'm really up for this. I am. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's actually coming out of me so insincerely.
It's me, David, and we are back in our new guise as Unnecessary Gaming. We're going to be putting out episodes on a regular basis, so you can enjoy our hot takes on all the new releases, such as Elden Ring, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Bioshock, apparently. But before all that, the next 4 episodes that you're going to hear are made up of content that we recorded back in September of 2021. Let us take you back to a more innocent time. How naive we were back then. Little did we realise that we were experiencing the twilight of a golden era. Not like it is now, when I subsist primarily on reconstituted Scotch broth mix, and spend most of my time stealing petrol from unattended recreational vehicles. Enjoy.
Hello, Euan.
Hi, Chris.
Hello, Dave.
Hi, Chris.
Right. How the hell are we?
Oh, we're pretty good. What was it you were saying about Shenmue 3 there?
Oh, well, I was just continuing on from that last episode we recorded. Just that Rio's a bit of an idiot.
Well, we all know that. He just wanders around looking for sailors.
I think he still is. I mean, they've set Shenmue 3 up for a Shenmue 4. Spoiler alert.
Oh.
But I don't know if it's just going to go full circle and then find Rio looking for sailors again.
But aren't we all, like, in a way?
I think that would be more narratively satisfying than whatever the guff they've been trying to set up in the actual story that they're trying to convey.
Well, it's good to know that nothing's changed since we last recorded. It has been a long time since we put an episode out.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time. I'm not going to apologise for it, alright? A lot of things has changed in the world since we last recorded anything. Like, there's something about a virus, but...
Nothing's changed for me.
Well, that's the thing, like, I feel like nothing really changed for me either. I've just been going to work every day. If anything, I've been busier than ever.
Yeah, me too.
There was no lockdown for me, alright? But you think, like, that a lockdown, it would have been the perfect time for people to, for us to record a lot of episodes, but I think everybody else on the planet had that idea. Was there not like 1 million podcasts started during lockdown?
People were doing a lot of streaming music, doing their podcasts.
Yeah.
It was a bit saturated, in an already saturated market.
Yeah, a saturated market, so I think...
I think we should pretend that we're actually making good business decisions.
Well, I think we rebelled against the whole thing, didn't we? Because we did nothing.
Yeah. We did, because we are rebels.
Yeah.
But we've had a bit of a chat, and we kind of put something out. I think I put something out on Twitter like maybe a year ago now, saying we're coming back, and then we didn't. But we've had a bit of a chat since then.
Yeah.
And we've decided that doing this podcast was entertaining for us at least. So we're going to continue doing it. Are we agreed on that?
Oh, well, yeah. We're here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Excellent. Right, so things are going to be a wee bit different though. So this has been part of our chat, right? So we've not been doing this for a while. We've decided that the way that we were doing it before was probably a lot more work than it needed to be. So we've got some new ideas. So we're going to include these in future episodes. It's going to be a bit different for this episode as well. They'll be a bit more segmented, but otherwise, things will pretty much remain the same for this podcast. The bad news is that Pavel's gone for now.
We miss you, Pavel.
Can I get an aw in chat?
Oh.
So Pavel's very busy. He's got a lot going on at the moment. I think for him, lockdown wasn't very kind to him either. But things are on the up for Pavel at the moment, though. I don't want this to sound depressing. He's actually he's doing some really positive things right now. So he's very busy, but he will return in some capacity in the future. So Dave, your punching bag will return. Let's not worry about that.
And hopefully all of our many listeners will breathe a sigh of relief.
Pavel doesn't know this yet. Pavel doesn't know that we've got plans for him, but he will be back. Anyway, it's good to be back, and we're just going to continue doing the nonsense that we've been doing before, and maybe add some extra nonsense on top of it.
Anything we can do to increase the nonsense. Right.
Well, let's get started. So, as I said, things are going to be a bit different, so you're going to hear some little musical numbers now, which my good friend Dave, who should be sitting in his bedroom right now. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, he's going to sort that out for us.
I will.
You're going to hear a musical number right about now, and then we're going to start talking about some games.
These are the games I have been playing, and I'll talk about them now. I'll try to be brief in what I'm saying. Ba 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 ba. Okay, lads, so we've been away for a while, but
yes,
I've not been idle during that time.
When are you ever, Dave?
I've played lots and lots of games, and I think it is once again time for one of my games roundups.
Oh yes, I've been looking forward to this.
Thanks. Right, so before I start it, does everyone remember the menu music in Gran Turismo? Do you remember what it was? Do you remember what it's like?
Oh, not really.
Like this stylistically, right? It's kind of like jazz, like fusion jazz, always in the menus.
Yeah. I think I've got a vague recollection now.
I'm gonna look it up after this.
Okay, good. Right, well, I haven't been playing Gran Turismo, but what I did play an awful lot of at the start of lockdown was a dinosaur murdering simulator, Monster Hunter World, including Iceborne.
Ooh.
We've talked about this quite a lot on the podcast, at least twice before. I've played it for over 800 hours now. I have still not killed all the monsters. But yeah, I think the fact that I've put so much time into it and there's still things that I haven't done in it, I think that says all you need to know about Monster Hunter World.
Fair enough.
I've also
it does get a bit repetitive.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I've also been playing Victorian and horror-themed Souls game, Bloodborne.
Oh, nice.
Exactly, yes.
You're hitting all the blockbusters here.
Now, I would say Bloodborne is literally one of the best games I have ever played. It is genuinely amazing. If you haven't played it, you should make an effort to play it.
I'm waiting for it to be ported to Nintendo Switch.
It's great. It's just fun.
Bloodborne was a game that, as somebody who was historically very bad at finishing games, Bloodborne kickstarted a period in my life where I started finishing games because I loved Bloodborne that much that I thought I should really give games more of a chance.
It's one of the few games that I actually came home from work and was like, had my tea and was straight on playing Bloodborne. Like I was looking forward to it, and that's quite rare for a game to do that for me now. Like I was genuinely like, I just had so much fun playing it. Amazing. I've also been playing turn-based alien slaughtering simulator, XCOM 2. Oh. Now, I would say XCOM and its sequel, XCOM 2, are literally some of the best games that have ever been made.
Oh, wait, there's a theme going on here.
If you play them the right way, which is on hard mode and Iron Man, and you don't look up anything about them. If you do that, then it's amazing. I don't think I will ever finish XCOM 2. It's like one of the harshest, most unfair games that I've ever played, and it is amazing. Absolutely love it. On to next game, open universe space exploration, crafting, base building game. It's No Man's Sky.
Yay!
Now,
that's got so much better.
Yeah, well...
Are you going to counter-argue?
This isn't
this
isn't a list of best games, is it?
The main question that people have about No Man's Sky is after all the sort of patches that have been done to it, two of which changed the game in major ways. They're like, is it actually good now? And the answer to that question, in my opinion, is no. I've also, we're onto the AAA games now. Open world future RPG, Cyberpunk 2077. Now, the only question people have about this game is, after all the various patches that have been done to it, is it actually worth playing? And the answer to that question is also no.
Right, continue.
Keep them coming.
Naughty Dog's latest magnum opus and the sequel that nobody asked for, Last of Us 2. Do you like to experience richly drawn characters, learn about their backstory, their families, their aspirations for life, and then be forced to smash their face in with a sledgehammer? If you like that sort of thing, then you will fucking love Last of Us 2, because that's basically what it's about.
It's true.
Yeah, I just haven't been bothered playing it. I just read a plot synopsis on Wikipedia. I was like, I don't want to play that. I'm sorry.
Right, I'm gonna do a bit more of a chat about The Last of Us 2 soon, right? Because I actually very recently finished playing it, and I'm gonna disagree that, well, we'll get into it more when I talk about it. The game is more of a soap opera. The game is more of a soap opera than the first one. Yes, undeniably, but I thought it was great. Which probably tells you something about me, because if you're talking about smashing somebody's face in with a sledgehammer that you love, then, there you go.
Oh, it's getting dark on the Dave Rundown.
I'm learning things about myself.
That's what this is for.
Moving on, open world action adventure set in feudal Japan. It's Assassin's Creed with samurais. It's Ghost of Tsushima. Now, I've only got one thing to say about this game, and that is, no, I am not playing it with the Kurosawa mode on. So everyone can stop fucking asking me that question, because literally every person I've spoken to about this game, that is the first thing they ask. Like, it's the only thing that's of interest about it. So I just want to put that to bed.
Well, I mean, the major flaw with the Kurosawa mode is that the whole thing was recorded for English voice actors and lip synced for English voice actors. So when you play it in the Japanese, you think you're supposed to be playing it in, it looks weird. Yep. Nobody's mouths sync up to what they're saying.
Yeah.
And I realise that that's normal. It's like the reversal of the classic anime thing. And it's even more disturbing.
Yeah. And also the subs are very different from what they say in Japanese as well.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, we'll probably talk about this in a future episode, possibly. I think so.
I need to finish that game.
Yeah. I'm never finishing that game.
Yeah, I don't think I am either. Like every Assassin's Creed game.
Oh, God.
Not finished one.
Okay, moving on. First-person psychopath simulator Rust. Now, it's important to mention, I have not been playing proper Rust. I've not been playing true Rust. I have been playing community Rust, which is like proper Rust, but with a lot more kind of bitching and complaining.
Yeah. About, more psychopaths.
Yeah, but in a different way, sort of passive aggressive. Yeah. Just kind of wearing people down until they leave.
I mean, that sounds like a lot of gaming servers. Let's be honest. It's not. I don't think that's unique to the world of Rust.
Yeah, it's not isolated there, is it?
Listen, I used the electronic system in Rust to build a working Dance Revolution machine.
well, you would, wouldn't you?
It was amazing. It was there were pressure pads on the floor that you would step on, and it was huge. It was 3 stories high for the big screen that you looked at. It kept score. If you beat the high score, fireworks launched, and a wee door opened so you could go and get a prize from a chest. Nice. It was fucking brilliant. I spent 4 weeks of my life doing this on the community server, and nobody gave a fucking shit. It's I went along to see all their little projects that they'd made, and I was like, oh yeah, this is really good. Yeah, and no one was interested. So
Dave,
fuck them. I left.
They ground you down.
Next.
3D Desert Island Survival and Palm Tree Chopping Simulator, Stranded Deep.
Oh.
Free on PS Plus. It's a lot like Raft in that you can build a raft. And there's also a shark who is a dick. The main thing you need to know about Stranded Deep is that if you eat too many coconuts, you get diarrhea and you die.
Just like real life.
10 out of 10. That's amazing. I have also been playing Warhammer Inquisitor Martyr. Now, Pavel spoke about this game at great length on a previous episode in the podcast, and I was there for that recording, but I remember I did listen, but at the end of it, I genuinely didn't really have any greater understanding of what the game was. I know that he didn't like being Space Marines or something like that. I think it was something along those lines. All you need to know, really, is it's 40k Diablo.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
So, I mean, I played the fantasy version of this, as I was telling you earlier. So, I can't even remember what it was called. It's just a Warhammer Fantasy Diablo style one. And I have, like, quite a large hard drive for my PlayStation, like an external hard drive for keeping games on, and I don't really have any problems with space on it. But when I finished the Warhammer Fantasy one, I deleted it.
Oof. I mean, what are we talking about?
I was just annoyed by it. I was just like, this could have been so much better.
I was just concerned.
And we finished it, and I went, I'm done. Oh. I don't delete games because I just have that much space on my hard drive, just in case I want to come back and play something silly later on.
I thought it'd been
I just deleted this one.
Overusing the gigabytes.
No.
It's just shit.
I was just offended by it. Right, moving on.
Hate deleted it.
Yeah.
I've also been playing wildly popular JRPG/relationship simulator, Persona 5.
Wow.
Now,
yep, I've played a bit of this.
For those who don't know, in Persona 5, you work your way through dungeons, fighting monsters who are drawn from sort of myths and legends from various cultures across the globe in a sort of turn-based fashion, as you might expect. You're doing this to save teenagers who've been mentally and physically abused. You're sort of saving them from their tormentors. Obviously, that makes a lot of sense. And you also have to balance this with studying for your exams, socializing with your friends, and doing a lot of like stereotypical Japanese kind of things while you're sort of cutting about Shibuya. Like, you can go to the batting cages and hit the balls. You can go to the baths and sort of get freshened up. You can rent DVDs. You know, just Japanese things. But the main thing you need to know about Persona 5 is that it is super stylish. This was my big takeaway from the game. So, like, if you like JRPGs and you like the menu music from Gran Turismo, then you will like Persona 5. Also,
he brought it home.
Full circle. Full circle. There we go.
Also, Rocket League. That's my final one. I am no longer playing Rocket League.
Why not?
And that concludes my games roundup for the lockdown period.
Well, that was fun, Dave. I'm just going to say that, like, ever since you mentioned the Gran Turismo menu music, I played it on a loop throughout that whole thing, and it went so well. Just listening to you rattling through a whole load of games while having that music in the background, it seemed to work.
I feel like this segment could use a bit of backing, like a dramatic countdown or something like that. I don't know.
We'll have to get Pavel to do it. He's got the most dramatic voice out of any of us.
I'm just going dun 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 dun.
So is that it then, Dave? Has that been the last year and a half of your life? That's that covered?
Yeah, that's the sum total of what I achieved.
A lot of people caught up on their Netflix programs. You caught up on the good games, or some of the good games anyway, and some of the not so good.
Yeah.
It was
well
good.
done.
No regrets.
Yeah, you've been catching up on that local sports team.
Go sports.
We all love sports here.
Right, so look forward to another one of Dave's roundups, and after the next world crisis. So, thanks. Right, guys, I'm going to quickly talk about something that came out fairly recently. Aliens Fireteam Elite, which is a weird name. I think they've just tried to fit some, like, edgy buzzwords in there, but Fireteam!
Fireteam Elite? Fireteam Elite!
So,
Has tacking on the word elite to a game name ever resulted in a better game? Apart from Elite,
No.
obviously.
Yeah, but that's just solo. Solo word. On its own is fine. Right, yeah, look, it's an Aliens game, okay? I would argue it's not an Aliens game. It's set in the Aliens universe, right? I think you can probably tell from my tone of voice that I'm not overly chuffed with this game. It's a, squad style game. You can play it solo and you get a couple of AI guys that come along with you, but you're basically just running through. It's a campaign thing. There's like three levels in each sort of campaign chapter, and I think there's 4 chapters, or at the moment there is. I'm assuming that they're going to make more. I've played through the first 2.5, I think, campaign chapters with my friends. So you can play with your friends. You've got a team of 3. It's kind of almost Destiny-ish in that way. You've got a equipment, gear level, and all that sort of stuff. That's nothing new to these kind of games, these third-person shooter things. But you're just running through from room to room in an alien universe. It's either on a space station or down in some caves on a planet or something. But the thing that kind of bothered me about it is just that it's like waves and waves and waves and waves and waves and waves of aliens. And different types of aliens as well. You've got spitter aliens and, exploding alien and all these, it just feels horrendously like they've just went, we've got this idea for a squad shooter game that's set in space. I know, let's make it an aliens game. It's, for me, like, an aliens game shouldn't be that. It should be Alien Isolation. That's an aliens game, right? I think you can agree with me.
That is the aliens game.
Is the aliens game,
yeah.
Right?
I mean, what you're describing to me, well, first off, it sounds like a pasted-on theme, which we always like talking about.
Yes.
Secondly, it sounds like a full-on rip-off of Helldivers.
Yeah, but the thing is that Helldivers was fun.
Yeah.
And Helldivers, if I remember right, that's the sort of isometric view one, or it's like from above, so it's kind of zoomed out.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like it's a third-person shooter thing.
Oh, right, also there is
and there are some cool elements to the game, I've seen people, I've read reviews, and some people have reviewed this game really well, and there's people that have said that the equipment in the game is really good, and it's not. Like, there's not, this isn't like a Borderlands style thing where you're just getting random guns that are sort of, random stats and all that sort of stuff. There's sort of preset guns, and there's not enough of them, if you ask me, to give enough variation in the game. You can modify them. There's mods that you can pick up, which is okay. The cool part of the game for me is the upgrades thing. So there's like different classes in the game, and you can go a sort of doctor, or you can go a gunner, and you can unlock sort of class mods for those classes, but then you can use them while you're playing as other classes as you've unlocked them, but there's only like a certain amount of space that you can fill. It's like a little shape thing, almost like Tetris, that you've got to fill this little box in with your mods. That's quite a cool aspect to it, because it adds a bit of like variety to your character. But this game cost £35, and it was not worth it. Like, I got talked. I'm going to say I got talked into buying it. I didn't. I talked myself into buying it because my friends were going to buy it, and I was like, you know what? I enjoy playing games with people. I enjoy playing games with these people in particular. I'm going to pick this up and play it with them. If it hadn't been for playing with them, I would have stopped playing this game much quicker. Like, it's just, for me, not worth £35. It is a regret. I'm going to be honest. I wish I'd bought a physical copy so I could have sold it on, but I didn't.
Listen, £35. You'd be paying like 40, 50 quid for a physical copy anyway.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. At least I would have got something back. This is £35 that I'm never going to see again.
I hope they use that as a quote for the next chapter. Like, there's an endorsement from our podcast.
Oh, you know they'll just cut it off. So it's got. I wish I bought a physical copy. That'll be it. 5 stars. Oh no,
No.
they didn't give us those stars. That was just a stylistic element we put in the thing. It's like a break in the page.
Oh no, that's in the background. You're reading that wrong.
Are you ever not shooting aliens in this game? Like, are there
No.
periods where you're looking at your motion detector and they're under the floor?
There's a motion detector on the screen. It's the Alien, the original sort of film style motion detector that just sits in the bottom right of the screen, so you can see where things are coming from. So it's basically just a radar that just sits there. There's not any point where you're actually having to physically get it out and look at it. You know, that would make it cool. But no, it's just there all the time. And all you're doing is you're moving from one room to another. And then in the next room, you'll trigger something. Like, there might just be, oh, you've got to defend this thing, so press this button, and now the aliens will start coming. There's a lot of, like, I mean, it's not just the aliens, there's synths and things like that come after you as well. But, you know, it just feels like we've seen it all before. You know, there's nothing new about this. It's just because it has an aliens theme on it that they're charging that much money for it, I think.
Do you think it would work better with a Left 4 Dead style AI detector? My God, the fuck!
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
You know, the AI detector, the AI director is what I meant to say.
To be honest, I don't know.
I mean, isn't that what
to either of those things? I'm not sure. Yeah, Aliens Fireteam Elite for me. Just avoid it. It's not worth it.
I will.
Yeah, I'll not bother picking that one up then. It sounds like
And if
the
I
kind
do,
of game I wouldn't enjoy anyway.
If I do, I will buy a physical copy.
Do that.
I mean, you
Don't try.
will you film yourself throwing it into the water of Leith?
Don't try and sell it to me, whatever you do.
So one of the advantages of this long hiatus is that we've actually got a few board games in the tank. We're probably going to burn through them in a few episodes, but let's enjoy it while we can. Yeah,
Yeah, I think we should.
Aye.
Lockdown board gaming.
There's been a bit of it, surprisingly enough. I've had the opportunity to play a couple of games with my sister and brother-in-law, and a couple of weeks ago I was through in Glasgow and I saw them where we played Polynesia.
Ooh.
Which is a nice little game. It's got some lovely coloured wooden pieces, which is always a delight. But it's basically it's like a route building game. The general theme of it is you're a tribe in some Polynesian island, and a volcano is going to erupt, and you've got to get all your wee tribesfolk off the island. Just get them the hell off
high
there.
tension.
Yeah, there is
High tension.
There is a real element, the ticking clock. It's quite real. You're basically hopping around between these islands, and you build routes. So you've got a token to represent your islanders, and you've got tokens to represent your little boats, basically, that you place on the routes in between islands. Having these routes basically allows you to tax other people when you use them. And there's 2 currencies in the game. You've got shells and fish. 2 separate.
Hang on a minute. You're taxing people to get off the island.
Oh yeah, it's brutal. Well, this is the thing I wanted to highlight about this game.
Wow.
Is that it's now I played it for the first time. My sister just doing her thing. My brother-in-law get very competitive about it and was actually, I believe, quite put out that I ended up winning. And it was my first time playing it, and I think this is one of these games where it could be very tight tactically, because you have that. There's a limited number of things you can do. And interestingly, every round, any currency you've built up is you lose it. I don't know what happened. You decided to leave it near the volcano every turn, and it gets burnt or something. I don't know, but it all goes. So you have a new income round at the start of each new turn, which then gets you your your resources for the next one. So it's really dependent on where you've got your guys. So you have to have, you know, a man on an island which produces shells, or one that produces fish. And the two currencies kind of have various effects depending on how you're using them. I mean, mostly they're interchangeable, but in certain situations it has to be 2 of the same one or 3 of the same one, or whatever it is. And you get points by getting your guys around these islands, populating them as much as you can, and usually being the first to get to these islands is a big thing, because obviously you control them. You're going to there's bonus tokens that get you extra points at the end of the game, so you want to be the first to get to those, so you've got them. People can build other routes where you've built them, but it's kind of become pointless, because if you've already got to a lot of these places, they kind of would want to be looking for other ways to get their points. There was one point in the game when me and Sam had quite an interesting little battle for. There's a little archipelago that goes off one way, and the route kind of takes you away from everything else, but there's a couple of bonus tokens on the end of it. There's a lot of good stuff. And we were both clearly going for it. And it became this thing. It was like we were both burning our brains to work out how one of us can get ahead of the other. And eventually he made a very soft move, which allowed me to be ruthless and getting ahead of him, which I think he might not have made had it been a second or third time playing the game with him, which is what I'm getting into about these tactics and how ruthless you are about them. I mean, the game it reminded me most of, and it's nothing like it kind of in some ways it is Attica. Now, I don't know if you remember playing that. Yeah. It really reminded me of that for some reason, because it was literally a sprint to the finish.
Uh-huh.
With a bit more nuance to it about how, you know, you're getting your guys off the island. So you'll have a little board with all of your extra people on, and you can populate them onto the island and move them out onto these smaller islands where you can get them away from the volcano, basically.
You're sending more people into the volcano to get them back off again.
Well, this is an interesting thing about the population. So this is one of the actions you can take is to populate. You have 2 choices. You can either populate 3 folk on the main island where the volcano is, or you can populate 1 person on another island where you've already got one of your guys to. So it's like, do I want to get more people out and try and get them away, or do I want to I ended up, for the most part, always populating them on islands that I'd got, you know, that I'd escaped to. And I think I did end
because you're not a cruel human being.
I try not to be, you know, especially when it comes to these Polynesians. I mean, you look at the reality of all that stuff. You know, they did used to just send people out in canoes to wherever and hope that they got there. So, you know, there is an element of that cutthroat sort of macabre quality to it that does make sense in the setting. You know, it's not all like idyllic islands and we've got shells for currency, and you know, it's.
Is this theme pasted on by any chance?
Well, I mean, actually, I'm really glad you said that, because in the rule book, right, you know, you get the usual bump from the creators where they talk a bit about their game, and I do want to mention the guys. So Peer Sylvester, that's Peer Sylvester. I'm not going to spell that. You can.
Thanks.
So he's written this bump at the start of the rule book. And literally one of the first things he says is, now a lot of games get accused of pasting on themes, and he's very open about it. It's like, this is all of the elements, you could probably reskin that to a different game if you really wanted to. But they do, I mean, and, you know, he makes a case for it basically not being a pasted on theme, which does sound a little bit desperate.
Yeah, it does.
If you're opening your rulebook with, this is not a pasted on theme, it doesn't give a... But I would say that he's done a good job of making it feel relevant, feel like, you know, that's... I mean, a lot of these games, let's be fair, you probably could remove the mechanics and put them into something else. But it depends how far you want to go down that, and everything thematically, and it makes sense. And it is a fun little game.
I'm not sure that I'm going to agree with you there. I mean, for what you've described to me, there's nothing thematic about throwing islanders onto an island that is about to have a volcano eruption and expected to get them off. That's that's a cruel game. Is that not the Running Man? I
suppose I did think of it like that. I mean, I think the idea is that your tribe is all on this island with a volcano anyway. Like, no matter what happens, they're there.
Right.
So one of the things that sort of end game point scoring things is you'll have your little board, your personal board, where you've got islanders lined up on that, and there's points relating to that, and the points are based on empty squares. So you really want to get all of your. So the idea being that the islanders that are on your little personal tableau, they're meant to be on that doomed island. Basically, they're all meant to be there. You're trying to get all of them off. But I do like your idea, though.
I see.
That you are just like, actually, yeah. If you took it out to like, maybe you were some kind of populist style, you're a god and you're just like whacking people out on this island, and they're like, why? It's gonna sink, mate. What are you playing at? But I I think the idea is for them to all be on the island anyway. Although it's weird to call it populate, actually, you do make a good point. If you're going to call it populate, think of a different name.
It should be rescue. It should be rescue, Euan.
Yeah. Think about that, Peer. Maybe release a new edition of your game with better wording.
So, good game?
I liked it, yeah. It was a fun little one to play while hungover, and it rattled through pretty quickly. It's the sort of thing where, as I say, because there's this weird tactical element underlying it, that it probably would lend itself to like a few replays, and it's quite quick to go through. I really enjoyed it. I liked the look of it. As I said, lovely little miniatures. That's always going to sell me on a game. And just
cool.
Just a fun experience. I thought I'd kick the podcast off with a light game. We're not going to come back in. We're not going to steam back in talking about Twilight Imperium. Although I would point out that I did tell my brother-in-law that I'd won a game of Twilight Imperium, and he point blank just did not believe me. I barely believed it myself, and I think it was entirely down to the circumstances of the game. But it happened. I'm going to be crowing about it to the grave, Chris. But take that one with me to the grave.
Well, you're not actually taking it to the grave because you're just telling everybody about it.
Aye, but I'll be telling them about it on my deathbed. I'll get a little notice put up on my headstone.
Get a minister in here.
Can I get that? I'm going to get that.
Here, mate.
I'm going to get that chisel.
I won a game of Twilight Imperium.
You called for the last rites, my son. Father, come here. I won Twilight Imperium. Once. I'm going to get it on my headstone. I can get that engraved now for later use.
I'll arrange that for you.
Oh, cheers. I love it. It will be in my will.
Is that done then?
Yeah.
Cool. I can stop recording.